Yeah, old school. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, this ain't for everybody. Some of y'all need to hear this. I know you're in the trenches fighting, but check it out. I'm gonna put it down like this so I can help the saints understand. Everything you're going through is all part of the master plan. Or what? You thought cause you got saved everything was gonna be peaches and cream? You better wake up, son. Don't nothing come to a sleeper but a dream. Faith without works is dead. Read your Bible, you know what it says. He who don't work don't eat. Blackers don't get fed. Yeah, Jesus said he who puts his hand to the plow looks back the same ain't fit. Some of y'all ain't been in the trenches 5 minutes and you about ready to quit. I ain't mad at ya, I'm just hitting you with the real. If you died for me and I was still tripping, now how you think that make you feel? Check this out, deep game, this here's deep. Some of y'all ain't sawing nothing but you started trying to reach. But unto him who is able to possess your fathers by his glory. Struggles might be part of your testimony, but it ain't the end of the story. Now upon this was prophesied way back in the day. Choir, sing the hook right here and see if the church can relate.
I know we can make it. I know good and well. I can work it out. Work it out. Yeah, he'll work it out. I know we can make it. We can make it. I know good and well. I can work it out. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yeah.
Thinking not strange, the fiery trials wanted to try you. You say, why you? But your church say, what would Jesus do? Why you asking if he ain't trying to do what he's saying? He told you he was going to have tribulations, but you thought he was playing. 1 minute you're telling how good God is and can't nobody beat the talk. The next minute you're backsliding so fast, it's like you're moonwalking. Oh yeah, I'm preaching to myself because I ain't no better. It ain't like I've been following his every word, obeying it to the letter. But we soldiers, we got to remember that. Regroup, stay on point. Yeah, bow down, confess, repent, stay humble, let him anoint. It ain't easy as I thought it was. I'd be lying if I told you that. But it showed up getting better all the time. Trust me, that's the fact. Ain't nothing we going through that can't be handled. God put that on his son. Like they say, you can shout now if you want to, cause the battle's already won. So while you're going through the valley, don't even trip. You're gonna be on top. Choir, sing the hook line one more again. This time you don't stop.
I know we can make it. We can make it. I know good and well. I can work it out. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. He'll work it out. We can make it. We can make it. I know good and well. Oh, yeah. Yes, he can. If you let him, I know good and well. He can work it out. 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 Oh, he'll work it out. Oh, I know we can make it. We can make it. I can work it out. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. He's gonna work it out for me. If you let him, I know good and well. He can work it out.
Blessed are the poor.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yes, he can.
Blessed are those who mourn.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can.
Blessed are the meek.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can.
Blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness.
I know we can make it. I know good and well. I can work it out. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. I know we can make it. I know good and well. I can work it out. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. If you let him, I know good and well. He can work it out.
Yeah, welcome to the show, everyone. I just had to give a minute to Big Boy upstairs, you know. Got to give him his props because we definitely need him with this thing we call life because there's so much crazy, crazy stuff going on out there. And we certainly want to say, you know, wherever you are, wherever you may be, we hope you're doing the right things, you know, in order to be safe, you know what I mean? And whatever your information is, you know, I guess you got to follow whatever you feel is the right and best thing to do in this time of this mixed information. But the show is not about that. You know, today we have a show lined up for you. You know, this gentleman, Mr. Richard Lynch, you know, this guy does not only talk the talk, but he certainly walks the walk, you know, and his genre that he chose to endeavor on, which he's definitely a giant and a legend in that arena. Right now, I got on my boots, and I got on my country hat, and my horse is outside. You know, I just thought about that. $4.65 a gallon, boy. These horses expensive to maintain. We got to talk about that, too, on another day, another show. But, again, thank you for joining us, and we are waiting for our guest to touch down. I'm sure, hopefully his plane that landed, and he'll be joining us shortly. But in the meantime, let the windows down and turn the air conditioner up and put your ears on this one. And just screw with this one for a minute, give our guest time to get in here.
Though you may not drive a great big Cadillac, gangsta white wall, TV antennas in the back. You may not have a car at all, but remember, brothers and sisters, you can still stand tall. Just be thankful for what you got. Though you may not drive a great big Cadillac, diamond in the back, sun top, digging the scene with a gangster lean, gangster white wall, TV antennas in the back. You may not have a car at all, but remember, brothers and sisters, you can still stand tall. Just be thankful for what you got. Though you may not drive a great big Cadillac, gangsta white wall, TV antennas in the back. You may not have a car at all, but remember, brothers and sisters, you can still stand tall. Diamond in the back, sun top, digging the scene with a gangster lean. Diamond in the back, sun top, digging the scene with a gangster lean. Diamond in the back, sun top, digging the scene with a gangster lean.
Yeah, that was a blast from the past, I just want to run that one out there, too, because I think a lot of people in the world today are taking a lot of things for granted, and I think they should be a little bit more thankful and appreciative, because life is truly, truly a blessing. Let's see, is our guest with us, Mr. Lynch? Are you in the building?
I am here.
Thank you so much for joining us, man. I was wondering if you was out there playing with them horses on your farm.
Well, they get a lot of my attention, but we're good for right now, I can tell you.
Well, that's fantastic, man. I'm glad you joined us, man. I gave you this big introduction a few moments ago. But again, people, this is our guest today, Mr. Richard Lynch, fantastic artist, country western artist. There's a lot that can be said about this gentleman. Humanitarian, songwriter. I don't know. I think, Rich, I'm going to let you tell him. I think you could tell him better than I can.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. I sure appreciate being with you. But I'm one of those guys that believe in the traditional country music sound, and I love the country way of life. I've got a big farm, and we work hard, and we play hard, and we bring live country music 6 times a year, once a month, June through October, to our farm. Grand Ole Opry stars and different folks and whatnot like that. But we're doing our best to fly the flag of that traditional country sound.
Well, that's great. When you said traditional country life, and to a lot of the West Coast people, man, they really don't know what that is. I mean, give them a little bit of what that really entails, and then we'll get to your music.
Well, it's I write my own music mostly, but when you hear my music, it's going to be reminiscent of people like old George Strait and maybe Alan Jackson, to mention some of the modern guys. Or the more modern guys, you might say. But to dive into the actual description of the traditional country sound, I guess you would sum it up with simplistic, real, genuine, heartfelt music, not overplayed, with some real straight line steel guitar, not to mention some harmony, and some, just kind of the rootsy kind of feel of traditional early country music.
What would you say about some of these Western movies, that you see, like the old movies with the music? Is that considered country as well, or is that fall into another genre? Well,
there is an aspect of country music in those Western movies, but that was more geared toward the Western sound. Back in the 40s and 50s, the term country and Western was coined for the fact that, the Western music could go right along with the country. And it really wasn't until the mid-60s where country music was just taken over, coined and as that actual name. And a lot of the success from country music has been taken away today because of the fact they've kept the name and taken the country music out of the country music, if that makes any sense.
Well, you explained it pretty good, because that's what I was wondering, the country Western versus, the country Western, I was
right.
like, okay, well, which one is it, Or is
Exactly. Well, like I say, up into the 40s and 50s, that was definitely one, and they were both in one the same. Whenever you mentioned the genre, you didn't say one without the other. And then, of course, the 60s rolled around in the 70s, and they left the Western kind of out of the equation. And at that point, it became more, on its own identity without the Western aspect of the music.
That's some knowledge for our listeners out there, because I know I didn't know the difference, and I've been into music forever. So I'm like, okay, you answered that one for me. Richard, we got some of your music queued up here. Starting Now just jumped out at me for some reason, because it looked like we're starting now.
Well, I certainly appreciate you playing my music. That's for sure.
Oh man, look, that's what we do. That's what we do. I'm gonna have to talk to Michael too. We're doing a TV show, and it just jumped out at me. A TV show, a celebrity-based cooking show, and I'm doing 6 genres, and country is one of them. So
nice.
I don't know. Maybe we need to talk about this off the air though, but. Remind me about that, man, because I'm looking for a song for that particular show that's going to be a national TV show in the country genre. So
wow.
keep that in mind. All righty. Let me see. Tell us a little bit about Starting Now, Richard.
Well, Starting Now was a song that I wrote. I think a lot of families suffer with a family member that, has a substance problem or an alcohol problem, or, they struggle with those particular issues. And my family is no exception. I've got a younger brother that really, really struggles with the alcohol. And he has since a very young age. And, I get to talk with him every now and then. And as he gets older, I try my best to get through to him. And sometimes I feel like I'm not getting through to him at all. And, one of these days, he'll have to have a consideration or a meeting with the man upstairs. I firmly believe that. But, until then, maybe we can kind of guide him a little bit. And that's kind of the reason why I wrote the song Starting Now, is that, it's not too late to start over. It's not too late to get forgiveness, and it's not too late to, start that life today. And Robert is my brother's name, and he heard the song just recently that I played it for him. And I do believe that he is starting to see the light in the sense that, he needs to get some help with the alcohol problem. And like I say, it's not just my family. I think that involves a lot of folks.
I don't think too many American families can honestly say that they haven't had someone in their family that's not dealing with some type of abuse, past or present.
So. You're right. So just my little way of writing about it and, getting it out there in the open, and ultimately the song ends and concludes with a really good note, and that, he has seen the light, and hopefully that kind of portrays in the music, and other folks can hear it and know that they can see the light too, maybe get some help and get cleaned up.
Richard, is it just you on this track, or is it you and the band, or who's all involved?
It's me, and it's a full studio production, 6-piece band, and myself, and we really, put our heart and soul into it, and it's one of those things where, I surrounded myself with some really incredible musicians, and ultimately it really shows in the production of the song.
Right, and one thing I want to touch on, man, that it definitely has a meaning, and that you're writing from actual experiences, and I'm sure that's going to translate to our listeners, and I'm sure they could, resonate on the message because it means something.
Absolutely.
So, okay, everybody, you know what I like to say, let the windows down, turn the air conditioning up, and put your ears on this. It's Richard Lynch, and Starting Now.
I ran into an old friend of mine the other day. I hadn't seen him in quite a while. We talked and caught up a little. It was good to see my old friend smile. I asked him, I said, so where you been hiding out all these years? He gave me a slight little grin and said, I dedicated my life to the Lord. Yeah, he's my new best friend. I paused for a while and thought, wow, what a change. I'm glad my friend turned his life around. He must have known what I was thinking, 'cause what he told me then was so profound. He said, when I was a young man, I thought I knew it all. No one could tell me anything. My life was a party. Yeah, I had a ball till my party days finally caught up with me. have anything. I woke up cold, sleeping under a bridge. My pockets was empty, and I was all alone. Man, I really wanted to go back home. I didn't want my family to see me this way, so I asked God to help me somehow. I said, Jesus, if you help me out, I'll give my life to you starting now.
Yes, everybody, Richard Lynch, starting now. Very powerful song, sir.
Well, thank you. Like I said, in the definition, how I explained it, how it came to be, it's funny how real life experiences can create these overwhelming emotions, and then ultimately we turn it into music, and hopefully it does good. Ultimately, it does good for someone out there to hear that.
Yeah, can I ask you, when you played it for your brother, I mean, what was his response? I mean, if you don't mind sharing that.
Well, I think at the time he really wasn't ready to admit that he had a problem. And it's only now that he is more open to the idea that he has a problem. Sometimes we see ourselves differently than other folks see us. And, I played that song for him about a year ago. And I think now he's realizing that, maybe I do need some help. And that's kind of maybe where we're at with his situation.
Well, that's good. I guess he can see it, I think we all have some type of addictive personality, man. I had tennis. I like food too much.
I'm with you. But, that's really what's magic about music is, you can hear a song and if you let that song touch you, sometimes that song can do wonders and lead you in a direction where ultimately it helps you or helps somebody or a friend, but ultimately it makes you think and maybe gets you on the right track.
You're absolutely right, and it don't have to be a current song. It could be an old song that if you could hear, and it'll put you in a place where you were at that particular time and how your life was going. And like you said, you could change your path right there. If you're happy, you might like to be on that street, but then if you're not happy and you think about some stuff, maybe you need to turn corners right now.
Absolutely.
So Richard, when did you first know that you wanted to be a country musician?
Well, it was pretty evident early on in my life. My dad was an incredible singer, entertainer. So country music and that whole aspect of music and the music industry was in my life even before I realized, I'd ever be involved in it. Funny story, at the ripe old age of 8 years old, I had gone with my mother and my dad to see my dad play in an outside concert up in Dayton, Ohio. And here I am sitting in the audience with my mom watching my dad perform. And lo and behold, unbeknownst to me, he pointed down to the audience and said, "Linda," which is my mom's name, "send Richard up here on the stage." And so I ran up on the stage and I did an old Buck Owens song of that era, back in the 70s. And, of course, you might imagine it went over pretty good, being that my dad was a successful entertainer in our area, and this little 8-year-old kid of his, was up on the stage So the crowd response was overwhelming, and I was bit right then and there by the country music bug.
Oh, man, I'm laughing because it's so similar. Mine happened to me a little later on in high school because I had a choice to either run off the stage or start singing, and I finally got there. I kept waiting for the guy with the big, long hook to come snatch me off, and once I actually started, got through the first verse, I was kind of like, okay, and I was walking across the school after the show, and the girls started talking about, that's the guy right there, that's the guy, that was the guy that was singing. Boy, you talking about my chest stuck out, boy, my head went back, boy, and I was hooked from then on.
Yeah, there ain't a better feeling in the world than to be accepted like that, and that was really fun.
I said, this is it. Yes, sir. So what was the first record that you released to the public?
Well, I was 18 at the time, and me and a guy named Tim Halsey, we were just little high school buddies. We picked up a little band, and we were playing a little three-piece band, and around the VFWs and the Eagles and Moose Clubs and just whatever we could play around our area. And Tim said to me, he said, I got an idea for a song. You want to help me write it? I said, sure, let's do it. So at the ripe age of 18, you know how advanced we would have been by then, we wrote a song called Basic Broken-Hearted Fool. And we went to a little old area recording outfit over here in Middletown, Ohio, and we had a grand total of 75 discs, and we went around doing our best to give them to whoever would take them, but we really thought we had something. Of course, we were less than all that at the time, but that was our first introduction into recording way back in that day.
Well, if you didn't have faith in yourself, I guess you had to.
Well, you gotta learn. You gotta fall a few times before you learn how to stand, and that was definitely an experience on the first one there.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, Richard, I understand on your farm you host some events. So tell us a little something about that, and then you can tell us about some of the different artists that you've had there as well.
Well, I'm a huge supporter of our military men and women, the people that put the uniform on and serve our country, and we have a beautiful barn here on our farm. And I mentioned earlier in the show that we do 6 shows a year, June through October, once a month. And every show that we do, we send a percentage of our income and intake for the music to a facility that does just that, support our men and women of the military up in Michigan called the Whirlwind Lodge. And we raise money for different aspects of our military men and women, and ultimately it goes for a great cause because it's a 1,200-acre facility, and any service member from World War II to today is welcome there, and that's just our little way of making awareness of the fact that there is a place that exists for our men and women that serve, and it's our little way of giving back because we certainly appreciate them so much.
Right. That's awesome. So who are some of the people that you have came there to play?
Well, this last year we had a group that's been, extremely, extremely successful in the music business. Their name was the Bellamy Brothers. They had an awful lot of big songs in the 70s, 80s, 90s. We've had a guy named T. Graham Brown. He had a lot of big hits in the late 80s, early 90s. The Confederate Railroad was one of the country bands that's been here. We've had Ronnie McDowell. Ronnie McDowell was a Elvis Presley tribute artist for many, many years, and then Ronnie got successful on his own, and the list just keeps going on and on and on. But that gives you an idea as to who comes to the farm and the caliber of music and that kind of thing that we bring to the farm.
Yeah, and plus you're doing a great cause, and that would attract a lot of community and community-oriented type people, and people want to try to give back to the country and to their service personnel.
Absolutely.
So I know we all have people that we'd want to do some music with and perform with. Anybody out there that you would want to write and perform with?
You know, I have been very fortunate in the sense that, you know, I have performed and recorded with a lot of my heroes over the years. But if I had to pick someone out there, I would love to say that I wrote a song or stood on the stage and performed with Alan Jackson. That would be an absolute thrill of mine if I could make that happen someday.
Well, you know, you put it out there in the universe, and then you claim it first. That's what has to happen.
You know, stranger things have happened, ain't they?
Yeah, man. Once you put it out there, boy, you know what. Especially if you faithful, you know it's gonna happen, but you got to claim it.
That would be awesome for me. It's, you know, I've always liked his music, and I've always been a huge fan of his. You know, somebody else that would probably be as admirable would be a guy named George Strait. I would like to say I did a show with him at some point or time. You know, that would be amazing. Either one of those two artists would be astronomical for me.
Well, you know, like I said, you just put it out there and it can happen, because this show right now is worldwide, and it's going to be going around and around and around and around, and don't be surprised, they may hear you and be giving you a call soon.
That would be too cool.
Hey, well, look, just be sure to call and let me know when it happens, all right?
You know it.
Yeah, we both going to put that one out there, because, I mean, I'd like to see it happen for you.
Thank you.
So listen, tell us about, what is it, Super No. I got that one ready for you. And then we saving Radio Friend. We're saving Radio Friend for the last one, though. So tell us about Super No.
Well, Super No was a very successful country music artist back in the 90s, and I was lucky enough to play with Doug a couple times and get to meet him early on in his career. And we had became friends, and, you know, life takes us many, many directions, of course, as we all know. Well, 20 years goes by, and I hadn't seen Doug in all those years, and we reacquainted and did a couple more shows together. And we were going to book Doug on a country music cruise. We were going to do a cruise in the Gulf of Mexico, and Doug was going to be gracious enough to go with us. We had all the details worked out. And about 2 weeks before departure, we get a phone call from Doug's wife and says, hey, we really apologize. We're not going to be able to go on the cruise with you. Doug has been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. So that was kind of a shocker to me. And I was listening to an interview that Doug was doing in Texas, and I grabbed my pen and my paper, and all the experiences and all the different conversations and so forth that me and Doug had kind of came out on my pad of paper and my guitar, and I just wrote a tribute just for the fact that I loved his music and I really enjoyed the man. I called him my friend, and fortunately he did get to hear that song a couple of weeks before his untimely passing. So it did my heart good that he got to hear the song, and of course it's been well received in the traditional country genre era all around the Texas area and different parts of the country, and even overseas, over in Europe and so forth. You got a lot of airplay with this particular song. So it's been really, really good for me, and ultimately it's just a tribute to one of my friends in music.
Wow. Again, man, that's awesome, man. Some powerful stuff, and believe it or not, I come from this little small town in the country, and That's all we heard pretty much was country stuff, man. I don't know if we was calling it country and western. I think it was called it country western. I was Charlie Pride. That's all we knew.
Yeah.
And it's all I knew coming from my little hometown in Texas. But everybody, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said Charlie Pride is a hero of mine. I'd love to have met Charlie.
All I knew at this time, I wanted to do music. I didn't know what I wanted to do at the time. I just knew I wanted to do it because it looked so cool, Either the place where I came from, you either played music, played sports, or picked cotton. That was the choice.
Awesome. Yeah.
And the latter I didn't want to do.
And music won, didn't it?
Music won because sports was right there too. Because I sure didn't want to pick no cotton. That didn't work.
I love it.
Everybody, you know the drill. Let the window down. Turn the air conditioner up. Put your ear on this, Mr. Richard Lynch and Super Now.
My guitar drifts country. I wish that line was mine. It came from a conversation a country legend left behind. We've all heard songs about our heroes, how they've all stood proud and tall. Yes, I like Merle, and I like George, and a guy named Super A Texas guy who loves country music. He sang his songs from the heart, kept his fans in the palm of his hands. He mentioned a place called Reno, where Lady Luck dealt him a bad hand. But he found his way back to Texas, between the Red and the Rio Grande. His country shows would draw thousands. His career was flying high. But life can change in an instant, with no explanation or reason why. No one gets promised tomorrow, and we don't know what hand we'll draw. Well, you made us proud when you sang loud. Thanks for the music, Super Now. Texas guy who loves country music. He sang his songs from the heart, kept his fans in the palm of his hands. He mentioned a place called Reno, where Lady Luck dealt him a bad hand. But he found his way back to Texas, between the Red and the Rio Grande. I'm glad he found his way back to Texas, between the Red and the Rio Grande.
Okay, your girl Miss Dramaganza, check. Lip gloss, check. Mascara, check. I am Indie with the homie K Diddy, check. You listening to Blog Talk Radio, baby, and I love you for it. Mwah.
Yes, we back, everybody, with our guest today, Mr. Richard Lynch. That was a great, nice song. I was just thinking about between the Red River and the Rio Grande. That's a pretty good distance, isn't it?
Buddy, that's a long way. Yes, it is. If you've ever drove through the state of Texas, you think you're never going to get out of Texas. But that's we've been fortunate enough to drive all over the great state of Texas, a lot of radio stations and a lot of gigs down there. And they receive our music pretty well. We're fortunate down there in Texas.
You know, have you ever heard of Sherman, Texas?
I have.
What about Paris, Texas?
No, I'm not sure about that.
Well, Paris, well, my hometown is Bonham, Texas, so I sit between Paris and Sherman, Texas, and that, you know, that's outside of Fort Worth. So I'm right on the Red River, basically. I mean, I could throw a rock at the Red River. I used to hate it when I was a little boy, going across those old rickety aluminum-like bridges. I don't know what those bridges were, but they used to make noise when you go over it with your tires. They used to go woo, 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 make a, and then you could see the water down there. You could see the Red River, and every Sunday we'd hear talk about somebody that got washed away or got drowned and got swept down the river, you know. That was crazy. Yeah.
That brought back some memories, didn't it?
Those bridges, man. I'm saying, yeah, you said Red River. I'm like, oh, man, it used to scare me to death, man. Because we used to have to go to Oklahoma, at least my parents did, because, you know, where I live was a dry county. So they used to have to go across the bridge in Oklahoma to buy beer and stuff.
Right.
So, yeah, memories.
Oh, man, nothing better.
Yes, and I'm listening to your music, so it's your fault. You did it.
I'll take that.
So being into the Indie Country Music Hall of Fame, Richard, that's awesome, man. I mean, how did you feel? I mean, how was that for you?
Well, you know, I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier that I get to record and be around some of my all-time heroes, and I've been successful and fortunate enough to where these people I grew up listening to, now I can call them my friend. And for people like that to vote and have enough belief in me to put me into the Independent Country Music Hall of Fame, I mean, I was absolutely floored and so grateful. My appreciation is through the roof. And, you know, I'll just say one thing. If there's ever a dream anybody has, absolutely pursue it, whether it's music or sports or picking cotton or whatever it is. If your dream is to do something, you don't take no for an answer. You get out there and you do it. And I'm living proof that if you pursue your dream long enough, good things will happen to you.
Yes. That's another... It's a powerful jewel for everybody because nothing beats a failure but a try.
That's it.
So what's next what's next for you out there?
We are right now in the midst of recording a brand new album, which will be our 6th full-length Nashville studio released album. 11 of the 12 tracks I will have written. A real good friend of mine in Atlanta has sent me a song that I'm crazy about, and I'm going to be adding his song on my new album. So we've got a new album going to be coming out early this year. We've got a lot of wonderful tour dates starting to fill back in the calendar. We've got some friends that we're going to be performing with around the country. And, you know, we're so grateful, you know, because in 2020, you know, all the musicians struggled and and I myself included, we didn't get to play much. And in 2021, we did a whole lot more. And I'm not going to say we're back to normal again, but we're getting better. You know, we're getting more dates for 2022. And so I'm just really grateful.
Well, we definitely go keep praying, keep hoping out that, man, because I know and the industry, the film, TV industry over there, up one day and they down tomorrow because they don't know what's going on out there with this, this virus thing.
You're right.
Like, okay, it's so confusing, and people don't know who to listen to from one day to another, and I think that's got everybody in the world. You know what I'm saying? They just doing pretty much what they want to do at the end of the day. It's
you're right.
And it's definitely affecting us because, I mean, there's a lot of places we can't perform, and then a lot of friends are just depending on, virtual and streaming situations. And then some other friends of mine, they were talking about bringing back the drive-in theaters. And I know in a lot of states and a lot of cities they're starting to do that, bring back the drive-in theaters, and they're doing, concerts, say, with you and your group that way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, okay, that's an interesting concept. At least that way they can charge by the person or by the car or by the people that's in the car. So I'm like,
right.
Oh, okay. But it's making artists be a little bit more, should I say, technologically savvy.
Yeah. No doubt.
Definitely.
No doubt.
Yeah, definitely that. You know what I mean? Because you could be a great artist and have great music, but unfortunately, if people don't know about it, it really don't mean much. You can have great music.
Exactly.
But
you're right.
Till they know about it, doesn't really mean much. But it's great to hear that you're going to be moving out there, man, and we just are going to pray that you'll be able to do it, and there won't be any restrictions out there, no limitations or nothing. Do you have any, let me see what I'm trying to say, film work? I mean, any of your videos out on these songs?
We are going to be releasing a full live video in March. We got a snippet or two in the tank, and so we just got to finish it. We just released a still shot video of a current song I got now that's really been doing well. If you're a musician, there has been a disc jockey in your life that has helped you and affected your life, and maybe even created opportunities for you, such as yourself. Well, I just lost a real personal friend of mine that was an incredible disc jockey, and he did so much for me. And I entitled the song "Radio Friend," and that's what kind of inspired me, just to show my appreciation for all the disc jockeys out there that play our music and just play music in general. So that's a current one right now, but it's all still shots. That's the current video. But like I say, we're going to be doing a full-length video with a really cool song coming out in the very near future. I look forward to having that out there, and we'll get you word to when it gets released.
Matter of fact, that's definitely make sure that we get a copy of it so we could see it. But on that note, we got Radio Friend right here, so we're gonna put that on our listeners, and then we're gonna be right back to chop it up with you. Everybody, you know what we're gonna do? Let the windows down, turn that air conditioner up, and put your ears on this, Mr. Richard Lynch and Radio Friend.
The Lord has been so good to him. He helped him do just what he wanted to do. He didn't always know, but God always knew the hearts he'd melt by being on the radio. The souls he touched from that DJ chair. He meant so much to people everywhere. Just a humble man doing what he loved to do. And after 50 years, he's gonna play his final tune. His radio was his best friend. I think he always knew what he was gonna do, and that radio life was the only life he knew. If I don't see you on the air, I'll see you in the air. If you don't hear my voice down here, you'll hear my voice up there. I'll play those songs we love again, and they won't ever end. Remember me, your radio friend. Remember me, your radio friend.
I am Indie. With your host, Lamont Patterson. I'm independent, but a minute. I'm feeling fine all the time. On my pride, I am Indie. Alicia Rain at the wave.
I definitely, certainly enjoy those lyrics, Richard.
Thank you.
I mean, it's so powerful, meaningful. You know what I mean? Sometimes you listen to a lot of songs, and I listen to a lot of songs, and you know, I can definitely tell you put your heart, your thoughts into that, and the production is awesome.
Well, thank you so much. You know, like I say, I really have a huge appreciation for so many disc jockeys out there that's been, you know, instrumental in getting me, you know, to where we are today with the music and the opportunities that come our way. And it just so happened that, you know, that particular disc jockey did so much for me at a young age. And, you know, he touched my heart, and I just wanted to show how much I appreciated him.
As it should be, sir, as it should be. Boy, you're a gentleman and a scholar and a man after my own heart, for sure. For sure. Richard, question for you. The Love Tattoo Foundation, I guess I missed, is that the same foundation behind your events at your farm, or is that different?
It is the same operation. The Love Tattoo Foundation is an organization me and my wife started. You know, we just have so much appreciation for our men and women that serve our country, and you know, we do little concerts at our farm, and we actually go up to Michigan once a year and do a show for our GIs up there and raise money for them. And I mentioned earlier they got a 1,200-acre facility up there called the Whirlwind Lodge, and every year we'll do a concert, raise money, and they'll build an extra or an additional cabin, or they'll do some kind of a service. They'll buy, whether it's a golf cart or something like that, to where our GIs can get around up there on the facility. But every year we do little things like that to kind of make awareness and show our appreciation for them.
Right. Again, man, that's some awesome work, man, and definitely, man. We need more people out there such as yourself to give back and try to help out. And I think if we had more people in our community, this music thing, to do that, we could definitely have a lot more impact, I believe. My thoughts, anyway.
I think you're right.
Yes. Well, Richard, I definitely want to thank you so much for coming and sharing your music with us, man. And we're going to continue to play it and push it. And it's definitely going out on just about all the platforms. So people won't have no reason for not to be able to hear this show and to hear your music. And definitely it's my pleasure to have you on here and have the time to speak with you.
Well, a big, huge appreciation from this end, and I thank you immensely, and hopefully we can cross paths out there somewhere.
Well, I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will, my friend, because we always circle back around, and I got some thoughts, and I'll be in touch.
Sounds good, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you much. Mr. Richard Lynch, everybody, please go out and support. Continue to support him. You know, he's got some good stuff going on. And check out the music. I was very moved with the music, the production, the vocals, the sound in general. You know, I'm very particular about my music. And Denham's A+. I like his personality and his character. You heard it right here. So if I say it, you know, it's the gospel. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thought.
Charlie Starr here, and I always listen to I Am Indie with your host, Kay Diddy, on Blog Talk Radio. Every Wednesday at 2 p.m., listen from your phone. 347-308-8747. Blog Talk. Kay Diddy.